Jim, another question. This one was sent in the Cult of Cornette Facebook group by Evan Christian. Why did TNA switch from a traditional ring to the hexagonal? Is that how you say that?
Hexagonal.
Hexagonal, excuse me.
Hexagonal.
The hexagonal one during Jim's
As opposed
tenure.
to a parallelogram.
Well, why did they switch during your tenure? Never understood why they thought it was a good idea.
But they didn't switch. They already had it. When I got there, they had started with it, didn't they? Or did they?
I don't think they started with it.
They didn't start with it in Nashville when they were doing pay-per-view only, but then they started before they got on television, I think. But point being, it was, well, I was just going to say they stole it from AAA, right? Was that, they stole it from Mexico, but who was the AAA was doing it in Mexico?
Yeah.
And Jeff was going down there at that point, and they were using some of the talent, and they thought it would differentiate themselves instantly visually from the WWE and what they were doing, and just give it a new updated look. And truthfully, I didn't hate how it looked, but it was very awkward. It was harder on the boys because with 6 shorter sets of ropes to hit, there wasn't as much give in the ropes. So it was great for springboard stuff and for the smaller guys to jump on them. But goddamn, it was like trying to hit the ropes. You're hitting a fucking wall. And conversely, because of the way it had to be constructed, you couldn't just have a long, uninterrupted, 1x12 or 2x12 board. It had to be constructed so you didn't have just the square and the parallelogram and the rectangle and all the stuff we were talking about earlier. So it was harder. It wasn't as good to bump in as a 4-sided ring. And a lot of times, when guys would first get there, it took a while to get used to it because especially unless you were a smaller guy, the distance you could run to go across the ring was shorter than what most guys were used to, and try to figure out how to take a turnbuckle. And it didn't make enough difference just being different to justify trying to work around the whole goddamn thing, to me. But it was different.
Were there any big fans of it?
Amongst the boys or the fans?
Amongst the boys. Because, you're really kind of looking at it from, you're telling me the company perspective. As a fan, I always thought it looked kind of cool, but in practice, you kind of, I don't know, I kind of got sick of it. It made the whole company seem like a gimmick.
Yeah, well, I don't know that any of the boys were just, I never want to work in another kind of ring, about it either. I think it was like, well, this is what we got. So, especially the creative guys will try to use it in some way. But a popular vote probably would have gone back to a regular ring.
I remember reading some quotes from some guys, maybe Harley Race or a few others that wrestling should only be 4 corners or whatever it is. Do you agree with that? Do you think they should never, the ring is the ring and that's it? Should it be anything that changes or advances?
Well, but again, they were trying to advance with that, but that was advancement for the sake of just being different rather than it making the matches better or the experience of working in the ring safer or more pleasurable. Or what was the benefit? The only benefit was if that difference had led to a bunch of people checking out the show and what they were doing and getting hooked on the talent or whatever. And that didn't happen. So why do it? Why change the basketball court or the football field? How do you really change that to where that it's an advancement, or just changing something as a gimmick to change it?
What do you think of bringing back the hexagon ring as a gimmick, as an annual thing, or as some kind of, I don't know what you can really build to it.
Well,
this man hates shapes. Let's put him in here.
That's the thing. Why would it be brought back for what purpose? Well, I can't beat him in just a 4-sided ring, but if I get that son of a bitch in a ring with 6 sides, he's mine. What advantage would it give anybody, or what would you do to a ring that it would need 6 sides in order to have that gimmick match or whatever. I mean, come back to me with more particulars.